¿Qué pasa, campeones? And welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. It is Monday, the 18th of October, and what we witnessed over the weekend was sheer magic, ladies and gentlemen, as Barca claw their way back into the La Liga title race. Big win for Barca over the weekend. That is mainly what we're going to be talking about today because, as we discussed at the top of the show, what else is there to talk about in La Liga news? With all respects, of course, to Real Sociedad going top of the league, with Villarreal losing their first game against Osasuna, a thrilling game that was. Of course, we're going to discuss that as well. But listen, the front page is reserved for Barca, for Ansu, for Memphis, and for a big, big win against Valencia, which, in all honesty, the win was big. The performance, we have a lot to talk about it. But leading into this week that is going to be fundamental for Barca, for the future of the season, this was a big win to pick up after two consecutive losses, with Kiev coming on Tuesday. And, of course, in the horizon, a less important match, in my opinion, El Clásico. Kiev, much more important. Anyways, joining me is Kiyan Sobhani. Kiyan, you don't have much to talk about this week. Your weekend was, of course, postponed due to the Champions League. That was a very fair agreement where all the teams get together a little rest. Anyways, good. How's your Monday? The week is starting. Your favorite day of the week, so you're feeling good.
Monday
is your Friday. Like, my Friday is your Mondays. So people understand.
I get so excited for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And when it's Saturday, it's like I just feel gone. I feel lost. I feel I don't know what to do with myself. I just want to work. I just want to continue working. But the trade-off is that I get to spend more time with the kids on the weekends. But I just love the shit that I do. There was one thing, Diego. And you and I were talking off air, like we're just going to talk about Barca Valencia primarily, although we'll touch on some other things in La Liga. Mini El Clásico, I watched it on Saturday. It was a really fun game to watch. So I have some thoughts on that.
Yes.
That was a very interesting game. And I just finished covering Ancelotti and Modric's pressers. Modric's was boring, but Ancelotti's was pretty interesting. Ancelotti's press conferences are always interesting, actually. So he gave us some good nuggets. But look, Barca Valencia, I don't know what to say other than the fact that must have been just a dream for you. Everything that happened in that game was, from start to finish, apart from Valencia's opening goal and maybe some scary moments in between, and I don't know, maybe just some moments that probably didn't bother you that much, realistically speaking. You had Ansu's first start in a long time. You had his goal. You had a Memphis penalty kick, which was beautifully struck. You had Aguero return. I mean, what more can you ask for? You must have been thrilled.
Listen, It was a very interesting game for many aspects. It was very interesting to see Dest, of course, on the right wing as well. And I thought he had a very good game. I thought, De Jong had a very solid game indeed as well. Memphis, more than... from all aspects, really. I mean, he was just a machine, una máquina. Like, his movements, the way he combined with his teammates, obviously that beautiful goal combination, him being like a wall of sorts for Ansu's first goal was a great play and selfless play. And I hope, I mentioned this as well because I hope that people like Marco van Basten, who mentioned a couple of weeks ago, was it, when we talked about it on the pod, how he considers Memphis to be quite a selfish player. And that in a team like Barca, he should be more generous, etc. And I disagreed with that precisely from because of what we saw in games like last night. So for me, between him and Ansu, it's a toss-up as to who was the best player for me in this game. I thought Ansu was just fantastic. I mean, he was. If we have 90 minutes of Ansu, then oh my God, at least we'll see the fourth spot of the champion, top four finish a lot more secure.
Get out of here. Nah, you can that with or without Ansu, you're in the top four, I think. But I thought that Memphis was really good. Fati was obviously really good. I think, obviously, like Ansu, I feel like he gives a certain energy and confidence to the attack. Like, rarely do you see a player that young with that kind of confident body language, the way he carries himself as if he's the best player on the field. He doesn't look in his head at all, and that could potentially be an easy trap to fall into when you miss so much time. When you're a young kid with all this pressure on your shoulders, you have the number 10 inherited by you-know-who. So that a lot of people, I think, would easily crack under that pressure. And I think it says a lot about him that he just looks so confident upon his return. And I said this on Twitter. I almost feel like, in a way, for Barca fans, it's almost bittersweet for him to return. One, it's because you just want him back on the field. Every football fan does. At the same time, he's so good that he actually kind of put some duct tape over some of the issues. You know what I mean? Like I mean, look, I think Koeman is going to keep his job anyway, regardless, because of what the situation is. But I do feel like either way, you need a player like that. I mean, everyone needs a player like that when things aren't going right. You need someone to kind of transcend that. So I'm thoroughly impressed with Ansu's return. He's awesome. He looks great.
It's a comparison right now. I mean, obviously people love comparisons, and the one between Ansu and Messi is not a new one, given, as you just mentioned, the inheritance of the number 10, where he plays, how he plays. The similarities are in front of our eyes, despite the fact that we obviously want to shy away from it. We don't want to do it, right? We want I'm definitely not against the greatest player to have ever lived. Ansu, at the age of 18, tomorrow night, I think tomorrow or next week, he's turning 19. Anyway, just an interesting stat has to be mentioned, despite not making a comparison. At the years of 18 and 351 days, Messi had scored 8 goals with Barca, playing 2,000 minutes, right? 2,000 minutes. The exact same amount as Ansu Fati currently, and Ansu Fati has so far scored 15 goals in that amount of time, having played 2,000 minutes, being the same age. Interesting. I'm just putting it out there, right? It's in the news.
Well, I think there was another stat that that one that you just said is obviously very impressive. There was another one that I saw that I was blown away by, because you look at, he's barely played this season, obviously. This was his first start. He's been injured. He's coming back from a really bad major injury. There was another one that showed his efficiency, because he already has like so many goal involvements. He's scored 11 goals on his last 16 shots. So
yeah, that's insane.
So imagine, like, even for a basketball player to go 11 from 16 from the field is insane. Right. So imagine a footballer just shooting 16 times and then 11 times it goes in. That one blew my mind. That was the one that was like, wow, that's a wild stat. I will say about the Messi comparison, obviously no one believes that we're not actually comparing the two. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows that. It goes without saying, so no one needs to get mad at us for that. But I will say, like, putting myself in a time machine and remembering what it was like to face young Messi, as great as Ansu was, maybe this is just a testament to how great Messi was at a young age. It's not even close to in terms of the fear factor. Like, I remember
the fear was so real.
I remember like when Messi was 17 and he scored that hat trick against us in the Clásico. Remember the 3-3 in the Camp Nou? Obviously you remember that one? Yeah. I just remember, like, every time he had the ball, I was like, this is bad news. Oh, shit. Something bad is going to happen. Yeah. There was another one I remember. Do you remember the one where the Clásico at the Bernabéu, I think it was 2006 or 2007, where Real Madrid won 2-0. That was the one where within like seconds, Ramos crosses to Raúl. Raúl scores the header, and then Robinho to Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think it was. That one. So that was during one of Barca's really bad moments, like that whole era. But I just remember that the one thing that you guys had going was that, like, a little kid named Lionel Messi was just ripping Roberto Carlos apart over and over and over and over again. I don't know if I've reached that. Like, there hasn't been a point where I've watched Ansu yet and I've seen his greatness. Yeah. I've seen how good he is, but there's like that Messi fear factor was real when he was a kid.
I think I get what you're saying. For me, it's the intensity, right? It's the fear factor. What you felt was fear. For me, was just a thrill that grabbed you and made you sit at the edge of your seat because you felt like something was coming. And with Ansu, it's more smooth. It's more unexpected in a way, if you will, but it's more graceful, if you will. It's less. Messi was just this intensity, this obsession to like dribble past the defenders and over and over and over again. He was incansable. He almost felt like, tireless.
Yeah.
Just tireless effort. Now, Ansu, and that's the thing. They are different players, even though their roles and obviously positions in the field and in the final third, right, for Barca's offense. The comparisons are going to be drawn, but they're two different players right now. Ansu, in terms of efficiency, is just fucking killing it. I love that comparison you made with a basketball player that would just be shooting field goals. I think it's very accurate. It's crazy. I would like to know where it ranks in terms of efficiency, even. And what else? So anyway, besides Ansu, obviously, and that's the thing as well. You felt that this game there was a lot of tiredness. Like the fitness levels concerned me, Kiyan. If we're going to talk about and address some of the concerns, if I did feel like Valencia came out swinging. This was not an easy game for Barca, given where we're coming from, given what we are facing right now, given the team that we were facing immediately as well, Jose Bordalas. So you keep his Valencia. I don't know if it's Valencia or Jose Bordalas, but both you keep kind of.
I've been out on Valencia for a long time. I hope that this shone some light on your eyes.
No, I think they're a good team, and they started out swinging.
They actually did have their moments in this game for sure. It wasn't completely comfortable. Yeah.
No. So anyway, Barca had their work cut out for them. They had to make a comeback from a great goal from Gaia down.
Yeah.
Where was I going to go with this? I'm just looking at the field and the setup as well. Gavi, for me, had a good game. De Jong, one of the best as well. There are moments, I guess, where you sort of defensively you wonder where, I love Gavi, I really do. But the guy's on the roll in terms of picking up yellow cards as well. And again, it's just something I like. I like the intensity, and it was applauded in the preseason. Was it a preseason? I think it was a preseason where. Or was it the beginning of the season? I don't remember, where he came out, picked up a card immediately. That was against Bayern, when we were getting slaughtered against Bayern, 3-0. And but we need that defensive effort defensively for sure, but also measured and not all too gung ho, because it could get this team into a lot of trouble. Defensively, we're quite frail. Jordi Alba had a very good game, of course. You feel that Piqué and between Eddie Garcia, Piqué, it's how should I say this, Kiyan, delicately? You feel like an error is sort of lurking, and if it weren't for a very good Marc-André ter Stegen, in fact, who I hope people now will give him his credit again and see him as a great goalkeeper that he is. He couldn't do nothing in the goal, of course, of Gaia. I think he got a touch to it, but impossible. And then he had a great stop as well. I think it was from Guedes or Gomez. I don't remember. Was it Maxi? Who was it?
Yeah. So that was a really great save. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good save. All in all, a very good performance. Obviously, Felipe Coutinho as well coming in. I thought his impact was very good. His movement as well. There's a bit of a concern with regards to, let's say he keeps up this level, this kind of level for those kind of minutes as well, where I think he can be a very, very useful player. But contractually, there it seems that if he reaches, I think it's the 100-game milestone, Barca have to pay another 20 million to Liverpool, which is probably not directly on the cards. I don't know. So I'm questioning the kind of input that he can have, or that Koeman can make use of him unless they just pay it. Anyway, we're digressing into the contractuals, and I don't want to get too deep into that. What else? And then you mentioned, and I'll finish with this. Agüero, of course, making his debut as a Barca player. Many doubted that whether or not we were going to see him ever wear a Barca shirt. Mind you, I wasn't one of them, but I'm just putting it out there for those who were. Well, we saw him, and also from him, I expect we can get productive minutes from. Not as a starter, probably, most likely, I would say. A Larson type. Barca have been long waiting and looking for a Larson type forward figure, and I think we have this guy if he can stay healthy.
I think it's super interesting to see the dynamic between Memphis and Ansu, and I think one of the things you see very clearly by just watching the games with Ansu there and Memphis there together, and also just looking at the heat maps, the passing maps, and all that stuff. Ansu goes on the left and Memphis plays down the middle mostly. But that doesn't mean that they're only stationed in those positions. Those are just kind of like the average positions. If you just zoom out and look at the game from start to finish, they'll sometimes swap positions. They're interchangeable. But usually, like in this game, it was a lot through Alba, Gavi, Ansu on the left. And Memphis would just get himself into good positions. And Memphis had a great game. And I think you can just kind of see that. I can't like prove it, but I feel like it's almost like a sigh of relief on Memphis's part that he can just do a little bit less, pick his spots offensively, and it just works better. And it's less of a burden on his shoulders. He can just move off the ball a bit more. He's not taxed with constantly bringing the ball up the field when Ansu can do that.
But you realize how alone he was before,
yes.
Right? Before Ansu was there.
Yeah. Yeah. We can talk about Valencia, Barca. We can break it down in even greater detail, but I want to talk to you a little bit about some other stuff too. There is this fear now that I've seen on Twitter, which was started or brought to my attention by Dermot Corrigan on Twitter, who brought up concern that due to Barcelona's situation, and I think we all heard about this stuff yesterday where they had to try to keep some lights off. I didn't really clearly understand. I think they were trying to save some money on electricity. I was like, how did we get here? You didn't see that? It was like, no. We can't serve certain food because it uses up too much heat. We have to serve some other food. We're cutting costs and stuff at the Camp Nou. Anyways, I couldn't believe that we had reached that stage. Dermot was saying that there is anxiety at Barca because they don't know if they'll be able to match offers for Ansu. Like once the club start bidding for him. Obviously he hasn't had that Pedri renewal yet. I'm sure they're working on it. Does that worry you at all? Are you worried about that, or are you pretty sure that Laporta will lock him up?
I love that you bring this to my attention. You know very well that this is a worrisome point for me. I've expressed it several times on this podcast that, particularly the renewal of this star player, the player that has quickly grown to become our favorite player, our franchise player, might be lured, or tempted. But and it's a shame that today is Monday, the 18th of October, and not Friday, the 23rd. But I trust that Ansu's going to stay. I have no doubt that Ansu's going to stay, and for many years to come. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind.
You heard it here first on Churros y Tácticas, an exclusive. Diego Lorijn guarantees. He guaranteed it.
No, I said, yeah. Did I say I guarantee?
No, I said that. But now it's out there. It's public.
No. I said I trust.
You trust. Okay, fine. Fair enough.
No doubt in my mind. I have no doubt. I trust.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's that.
Well, I think you can guarantee that Laporta is going to basically make that his priority. You can guarantee that Ansu loves Barca. You can guarantee that his family loves Barca. I think his parents have been vocal about that as well. But one thing that is interesting is that I didn't realize until I saw Dermot's tweet, that his agent is Jorge Mendes.
Are you serious? Bro, I've mentioned this on the pod. That's exactly what I stipulated when I mentioned that my worrisome part is precisely because of that. It's, you have Mendes is only his agent since, I think, a year, maybe a year and a half. It's very recent. His agent before was Messi's brother. And I mentioned it here. I said, that's a little bit unsettling.
That's just the world we live in, man. You just can't escape these power agents. They're going to be everywhere.
The word around the campfire is that he has been very specific with Jorge Mendes, who, mind you, does have a good relationship with Laporta. I would imagine he would want to keep it that way, and his client happy, and his client has expressly told him only Barca. Now, is he going to try to get the best for his client? That's what Mendes and your Rayolas do. That's why they're their agents that they are. And there is a lot of money in this market to be made. And ways, I guess, to make sure that his prize client will get the very best that there is on offer. Will it be up with your PSGs and Man Cities? We cannot compete at the moment, so we have to be serious. But Ansu loves the club enough, to understand that the same way other players maybe didn't, and wanted to prioritize the contractual aspect and go for the immediate gains. I don't think Ansu falls under that umbrella.
I've been thinking a lot about you in the past couple days.
I have something to ask you as well, by the way, but go on.
Okay, well, I don't know which comment is going to be more relevant to the discussion. Mine is a
well, go because maybe it's tied. Oh, it's a topic change. Yeah. Okay.
So you want to go first?
Well, I guess mine is kind of a topic change. I saw a tweet about how you apparently spoke on the solo pod, how of a divisive figure I can be, a love-hate sort of person. And with my statements or our previous pod about the Balon d'Or debate, I guess it sort of stirred some pulses again. And it was mentioned, yes, Kiyan, now I get why you labeled him as a divisive love-hate figure on that solo pod. I was just curious.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it was likable.
I think I was going through questions. I don't remember exactly what the context was, and I think it was about this is what it was. Somebody had asked about the origins of Churros or how it started. I think that's what it was, and I kind of said we went through the process.
I fucking motherfucker, and then he was all right. He was good.
Well, what I said was the process of Churros was how it first started. I started to interview a lot of different Spanish football journalists from different backgrounds, different teams and stuff. And you kind of eventually just narrowed it down to the one you had the most chemistry with, and that was you. And
the original was the Barca. What's his name again from Barca Blaugranes?
Renato was the first one who ever
Renato.
He was
the first Barca guy.
First Barca guy, yeah. Anyway, and then just through process, it wasn't even a tried or elimination or anything. It was just after a while, it was just okay, well, I really like the chemistry with Diego Lorijn. It's fun to talk with him. And what I like about him is, and this is what I said, is that what I liked about him is that he is not afraid to spew his opinions. And whether you agree with him or disagree with him or love him or hate him, I love the fact that he knocks people off the fence and is not afraid to do so. And for that reason, there is a polarizing effect with you. In that you're gonna get a lot of people angry and upset, but at the same time you're gonna get a lot of fans the other way who love that. And this is the thing. This is why I encourage people to be like you, because if you kind of neutral and you try to like be political the way I am, and you're kind of just tiptoeing sometimes around things, you kind of will draw a neutral response where you don't get anyone really becoming a fan or hating you, which is actually a bad place to be. It's better to knock people off the fence and be true to who you are and not be afraid to say things. And so that's why I said that's why I really like working with Diego, because in a lot of ways he balances that side of me, because I wish I was sometimes more like Diego. So that was the context.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you're making me all emotional. I didn't expect this. My God, I'm like getting goosebumps here listening to you talk to me like that, in that light. That was very nice, Kiyan.
All right, well, now that I wish I listened.
I'm going to play this to my wife and my kids over and over again.
The reason I've been thinking about it the last couple of days is because I know how upset you were, or how angered you were, to hear about all this Benzema Balon d'Or propaganda. And since our last recording, which is that's another one where you want to go and see example of Diego being polarized, and go look at the comments on the last podcast, especially the clip we posted on YouTube, but also I think on Patreon itself, the comments, which I think you responded to some of them. But since our last podcast, Zidane came out, interview out of his way to endorse Benzema. Benzema himself has come out again. And I just feel like there's this PR machine now working the Benzema Balon d'Or bandwagon, where it's like we are going to come out in waves and just remind people and market the hell out of this Benzema Balon d'Or, Benzema Balon d'Or. And you know what I think? Like,
thank you.
Some people don't really understand what I'm trying to say here. Like, as I mentioned this on Twitter, and like some people just didn't get it. They didn't get the message I was trying to get across. Whatever ends up happening, whether it makes a difference and Benzema wins the Ballon d'Or or not, I don't think he's going to, but I think he is top 3, and I think he's probably top 2. But whether he wins or he comes 3rd or whatever, or 4th, who knows? I don't think he's gonna come 4th. I think he's probably top 3. Whatever happens, I think there was a real intention behind this to get the name out there, and I think it makes a dent in this way. I think there are a lot of people who vote, and obviously we know there's one vote per country. There's a lot of people who vote who just don't really are not that well immersed in football, and they will sometimes vote based on who they know, or based on familiar names, or based on people who are from their country, or based on just
propaganda
and what they see in the media. And I think some of those people will be swayed, at least even if it's just 1%, by a figure like Zinedine Zidane coming out and saying Benzema deserves it. Ronaldo Nazario coming out and saying Benzema deserves it. And I think there's going to be more. Wenger said the same thing. I think some of those people will, at least, if they don't have a real opinion about the subject, they will remember those words and possibly put Benzema down. I don't know how much it actually moves the needle, but I think that's what the intent is right now.
Clearly, and it has been since we discussed it on the last pod. Is la maquinaria, the famous machinery that starts putting the machine at work, oiling up the engines and the motors, and like you said, they're all jumping out of the closets. The Ronaldo's, I think Jorge Valdano was another one. But it's always been like this, so it's really nothing new.
Yeah.
And if you like me to speak my mind, the same was done with Cristiano Ronaldo. And again, I spoke that time. I mentioned this Mr. Seitan, this YouTube channel, who for my is, again, go and watch his videos if you understand Spanish, because by far he's the best Barca YouTube channel there. And in detail, nitty-gritty detail, just has great examples where he outlines how the media works with the right examples, and making very good figures and arguments as well, and I have no doubt that were a player, he makes a very interesting case. We're saying where if Cristiano Ronaldo would be a Barca player and Luis Suarez would have been a Real Madrid player without Messi in the equation, just those two during that time when they were playing each other, Luis Suarez would have won a Balon d'Or for sure. He would have won a Balon d'Or for sure. multiple ones maybe. When you can look at the figures, when you look at the stats, when look at his impact and everything, the guy was phenomenal. He was a phenomenal forward, and probably didn't get his dues. One, because he was a Barca player. Two, obviously he was under the shadow casted upon all players, that of Leo Messi. And three, Cristiano Ronaldo was a Madrid player.
What do you want me
I
to
spoke my mind.
What do you
You've got your YouTube clip.
I mean, what do I really say to that? I mean, like, there is going to be, like, Luis Suarez is one of the best strikers I've ever seen. In my opinion, the best striker in Barcelona history. What you're saying essentially is that the best player on the best team is going to have a chance. That's basically what it comes down to. If Messi was a Real Madrid player and Ronaldo was a Barcelona player, we can have this argument either way. I think the thing you have to remember is that, especially from like 2014 and on, Real Madrid were such a good team. They were probably the best team in Europe for a good 4 to 5 straight years. From like just if you're looking at everything together, and the best player on the best team, especially when he's scoring 50 fucking goals a season, he's always going to be at the very least a top 2 contender, if not the contender. So I would Luis Suarez have scored those goals if he was playing for Real Madrid? I don't know. Maybe not. He would have scored a lot.
And he would have been providing more assists as well. That's the thing from an overall perspective as well. A player like Luis Suarez offers more to the entire team and more goal production as well. I mean, look.
I think you're underrating Ronaldo's playmaking ability a lot.
But I undermine it, really?
I think you're underrating his playmaking ability for sure. He's a great passer. He's always been a great passer, and he's always been a good creator. And I don't know if you can replicate what Ronaldo and Benzema had together with Suarez and Benzema to that height that it went to. It's an unknowable answer. I don't know either way, but it's just given the fact that partnership reached such a elite level. I mean, and likewise, I don't know what would happen if you swap Benzema with Suarez. If you what Suarez and Messi did together was incredible too. I don't know. I don't think what you're saying is wrong, but I also just don't. I think sometimes you take these into these weird conspiracy places that I don't like.
That's what I do, baby. That's why you asked me to be your partner for this pod. Again, I urge you, those listening, or you yourself too, Kiyan, I can try to. Why don't I look for the links and I put them on Patreon? Then everybody can look for it or see them and have their say, and we can have a nice little debate and argument. I think, yes, Luis Suarez would have won Balones d'Oro if he had been a Madrid player. I think Messi would have won more Balones d'Oro would he have been a Madrid player, because that is the strength of the Madrid-based media. And like you said yourself, media manipulation is a very real thing. And Madrid-based media, their outreach, their reach rather, is far greater than what we can do over here in Barcelona. Again, numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the reach. Look at the readership. Everything. It's just the impact of it is you can't describe it. I mean, you can't compare it. Madrid's media impact is far greater, far larger than that over here in Catalonia.
But to me,
it's not playing a victim card neither.
It is. You're being victim. No, you're being a victim. You're being a victim. I don't like it.
It is not a victim. Listen, it's the same as any capital of any city. Ajax in Amsterdam, London, any team from London, basically, with the exception of Manchester. But New York in the NBA, New York, even though they have won a championship, the Knicks are still the greatest, one of the most lucrative and a big market team in the NBA, despite just being having been garbage since '71, was it?
Yeah, but they're not winning MVPs and awards and stuff because they're New York. Look, where I think your argument breaks down for me is that you're pretending Ronaldo just didn't exist. You're saying if Suarez played for Real Madrid, he would have gotten all those Balon d'Or exists. And it's like you're acting as if Ronaldo got those trophies because he played for Real Madrid. He won those because he's Cristiano fucking Ronaldo. He's arguably the greatest player of all time. I don't know. I don't see any issue with it. If Real Madrid's marketing PR machine was that great, and I'm not saying it's not good, but you're also saying that Benzema's only there because he plays for Real Madrid. Benzema's there because he's Benzema. He's been one of the best players in the world for a good 2 years straight now. He is one of the greatest goal scorers in Champions League history.
Kiyan. Benzema doesn't deserve to win the Balon d'Or. And Florentino Perez, his PR strategy of putting the people in the right places and creating the television shows that are basically Real Madrid TV, but not officially, they are putting they have put now the seeds, let's say, to blossom and the machine at work in order to create him part of the conversation. In Barca's case, that just wouldn't be possible,
I disagree. What is so all of a sudden if Messi was playing for Barcelona still, it would have been what would have been different? Like, you know what I mean? Messi's going to be
the Messi slanter would have been far greater. There would have been way more. I mean, that's clear. Like you see it now. I mean, what do you mean? Sorry, I'm missing a point. There would be arguing even heavier that probably Benzema would have to win the Balon d'Or.
Because when you say that Benzema is not winning the Ballon d'Or this year,
yeah,
it almost
he shouldn't. No,
it almost seems like you're saying he's not in the conversation at all. And
not this year. No.
If you're a top 3 candidate, you're in the conversation. You are. You just are. I said this on Friday. My vote would still go to Lewandowski. But if you're number 2, which I think Benzema realistically is number 2, certainly not 4, worst case 3, you're at least going to have your team back you. You know what I mean? You're going to try to get as much of a chance as you can. I don't see a big deal with this.
All right. I say we move on.
Is there anything to move on to? I don't know.
Good win for Osasuna. It was nice to see Chimi
from Balon d'Or and Barca to Osasuna. Yeah, no, it was that was a great Chimi goal. I thought there was the goal they scored. I think it would have been the equalizer for Villarreal. I thought it was a bit harsh that they got disallowed because Moreno got called for a foul and it wasn't. But there was a couple moments in La Liga like that this weekend where just epic moments, like the Avila goal was one. The other one was Real Sociedad's last second goal versus Osasuna. Not Osasuna, sorry, Mallorca.
No.
Which sees them at the top of the table. And it was that kid who scored. Forgive me, I'm going to look this up really quick because he deserves to have his name out there. Julian Lobete. 90th minute. It was a deflected goal, but what struck me about that moment was the pandemonium of Anoeta. It was so nice to see that again in that stadium. The energy was great. The atmosphere looked great. Two stand-up moments in La Liga for me, apart from what happened at the Camp Nou, was that one.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. And, that means that Real Sociedad are league leaders, of course, for the moment, having played one more game. Just realizing now, actually, that when Clásico rolls around, we could actually overtake you in the league standings, go from 7th and leapfrog our way up, because we have the same games, same number of games as well.
We both have our
Barça
game in
15.
hand. Yeah, well,
Barca on 15.
Oh, if you win the Clásico,
17.
yeah. If you win the Clásico,
Yeah. But like I said, the Clásico for me is at the moment a second, an afterthought, and will remain to be an afterthought because
until the Kiev games finishes anyway.
After the Kiev game, yes. I mean, it's this transcendental. Is that a word? Am I literally translating?
Transcendental?
Yeah, transcendental. It's okay. I don't know how to describe it. How to translate it. It's hugely important.
So in English, transcending, and I think transcendental is a variation of that, where it's basically like, transcend. You know what transcend is? It's like...
Yes, transcending.
Almost like spiritually elevating over everything else.
Yeah. But it's gonna decide so many things. If we lose this, or if we don't pick up 3 points, financially it'll also be detrimental for Barca.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys don't pick up 3 points, I mean, where does that leave you? Do you feel like that's it? It's going to be hard to recover from that?
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. There's nothing... I mean, we won't depend on ourselves, even though at the moment already we don't fully entirely depend on ourselves, because if Benfica win all their games, which you hope they don't, because at least not the game against Bayern. So we're depending on Bayern, beating Benfica and us winning everything, and that would allow us to stay in the race. Transcendental, momentous. So I didn't make it up, actually.
Okay. I'll just quickly say, we both got to run. I'll quickly say something about...
You hear the background noises. Sorry for that.
It's all good. From the Castilla-Barca B Mini Clásico, I've already shared all of my Real Madrid notes on Manager Madrid podcast, so I don't want to get into it now. If anyone interested has probably already heard that. And if you're a Barcelona fan, you can just go listen to that in case somehow you're interested. But from a pure Barcelona standpoint, one kid stood up for you guys. Off the bench, Abde Ezzalzouli. He came in the second half, Moroccan kid, 19. And really just quick winger, he can dribble. So he was one of the standouts from a Barca perspective. I just thought I'd share that with you. Seems like a fun player.
Yeah. Okay.
There are probably some compilations of him in that game if you look it up.
A fair few North African, like Moroccan, Turkish players at the moment.
Yeah. All right,
buddy. I have to go, my friend. I am very sorry. I would like to delve into more,
done.
But
we're done. We'll chat
duty
Friday.
Calls. The mini Clásico was a lot of fun though. But I mean, I particularly enjoed Madrid. Actually, I'm surprised to hear you highlight about
of course I did. I mean, but I didn't. I've already spoken about that. That's why I didn't bring it up now. But,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
right,
you go enjoy the game against Kiev. And we'll chat on Friday over on patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas for more polarizing Diego takes. All right, thanks, Diego. Take care.
Peace. Ciao, man.